This is going to be a quick video update on some things that have happened in my life. This past Tuesday, I made my first and will not be my last donation to PBS, to public television here in the United States. PBS is our equivalent to CBC in Canada or the BBC in the United Kingdom and other similar public television agencies throughout the world. PBS relies on funding from philanthropic organizations. There is a section of government funding that goes into it. Personal foundations from those that are able to keep up regular donations, as well as individual viewers. You've probably seen on PBS how certain shows, it always says, with support from viewers like you. Well, they really mean it. They really mean it. Without the support of the viewing public, PBS would not be where it is. And I grew up with their programming. I still enjoy it to this day. In fact, I'm catching up on Downton Abbey, and I am actually interested in getting started with Victoria at some point if I can figure out when Masterpiece is on in my local area. But my personal favorite shows on PBS are Masterpiece, Nova, Nature. There's a series on the brain which I think is really interesting. And I watch the NewsHour every single night, and I also watch the NewsHour Weekend Edition, which we don't get on my local PBS affiliate, but they have it uploaded to YouTube, which I think is very nice. But I absolutely love their programming, and I honestly am hoping that they will continue to be around for as long as I live and for future generations to come, because I like the fact that they rely primarily on government funding, on generous donations from local organizations, and also from the viewing public, because it means that they are not held to standards set by advertising entities that may end up having a destructive say in what ends up going up there. I guess to me PBS feels like a safe haven compared to a lot of other programming that's out there these days. So me personally, I am more than happy to support public television, and I'm hoping that I can garner some support from subscribers as well. Maybe somebody out there is might be interested in making a donation. I say do it, because it's definitely worth it. So shifting gears, like I said, this is just going to be a video about some things that have happened recently. So shifting gears over to the tech scene. So my iPhone is on its last legs, and I've been thinking about accessible cell phones. One of my favorites has always been the Jitterbug. Excuse me. The latest iteration is the Jitterbug Flip. Excuse me. They have an unlimited talk and text plan for $50 a month. And $5 more gets you My World, which is basically a news aggregator, weather, and so forth. So I think that's pretty slick. I just love the large print, no frills interface. Basically, very large letters and numbers, easy yes, no instructions. My late grandmother had one of the original jitterbugs, and unfortunately, her mind was such that she had a hard time using it. But a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people are really into these easy to use phones. They're making a comeback. And I think that's one of the reasons why Jitterbug added these extra services, because aside from seniors, apparently they've picked up a market of people that just want an easy to use phone. As an example of the menu screen on the Jitterbug, it's literally you just arrow up and down and you hit yes and no. There's a built-in magnifier and there's a built-in camera, although the camera itself is nothing to write home about. But given the target demographic, they're not really into specs. They just want to take a picture of their pup, or some such thing. I also like the fact that the latest Jitterbug has wireless charging, and that is something that I think they should have had from day one because, like I told you, I have my late grandmother's Jitterbug. In fact, I have it sitting right here on my desk. Getting that little charger into the appropriate port for my grandmother was not, she could do it, but it wasn't the easiest thing to do. It definitely took some practice. So to have wireless charging on the Jitterbug is definitely a plus. However, I got to thinking about this and realized that I've used a smartphone for too long. I've used a smartphone for the last 6 years. And as such, going back to a flip phone, while certainly refreshing, as a consumer with vision problems who relies on the technology to keep up with the day-to-day demands of their life, and I'm talking about more than just news. I'm talking about being able to access my classes on the move. That is something I would certainly miss. So, I went to my local Best Buy today, and I got some hands-on time with the Google Pixel. Now, I'd seen the hardware before, but the last time I saw it, it was basically the battery was dead, and I couldn't start it up at all. However, the last 2 times, it was running, and I got a chance to take a look at it. Now, unfortunately, the display unit was not signed into a Google account, so I couldn't try the Google Assistant, which was a real shame, because that's one of the real highlights of the phone. But there's another one too, and that highlight is specific to people with low vision. Android 7 and 7.1 Nougat has added a brand new accessibility feature. You've always had the ability to adjust the font size. Well, now you can adjust the size of the entire display. Think of it as if you used Windows XP, remember how you could reduce the screen resolution and thus make everything bigger at the cost of making it look like something that came out of Minecraft? Well, the display size option in accessibility does that. It makes everything on the screen bigger. It shrinks the overall capacity of the display. So in other words, instead of 5 icons across the bottom, you just have 4. But it makes everything roughly twice as big as the original size. Unfortunately, that feature is only available on Nougat devices, which on Verizon basically means you're stuck with either the Motorola Droid, one of the Motomod's phones. All of a sudden, I can't think. Let's see. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. The Droid. There's the Droid Play and the Droid Force. Anyway, they're the 3 of them. The only one that has Nougat that I'm aware of is the one that's the more mainstream, the high-end one. I think it's the Force. Anyway, that or the LG V20 or the Google Pixel. Of the 3, I'd honestly pick the Google Pixel because It may not have the most features, but I think they're headed in the right direction. And what do I mean by that? Well, I like the idea of USB-C because that's a more universal standard. I got my mother a Chromebook for Christmas, and I believe it has a USB-C port on it. And to be able to transfer pictures from the phone to her computer, simply using that single USB-C connector without any adapters, that'd definitely be nice. But there's more to it. This is an example of what I was talking about a moment ago with the display, resizing. You can see that the one on the right is roughly twice the size as the one on the left. Okay? This is in addition to what we already know about Android, which is the platform itself is far more customizable than iOS as far as home screens, keyboards, and other stuff like that. You can do anything you want, and for a low vision user, and no two people with low vision have conditions that are the exact same. It's kind of like saying no two fingerprints are exactly alike. Well, it's the exact same way with people that have low vision. No two conditions are exactly alike, and needs will vary from person to person. In fact, accommodating for low vision is actually more difficult than accommodating for those with total blindness. At least I feel it is. Like I said earlier, I couldn't try Google Assistant, but Google Assistant is one of the main draws to the Pixel that I have. We are moving away from a technology time when the hardware matters. And what do I mean by that? The hardware will always matter. Okay? But instead of mattering in the way that, oh my gosh, I've got the greatest and latest powerful thing, it's going to be more along the lines of, what services do I use? Will the hardware support it for a reasonable amount of time, say 2 or 3 years? And in terms of these services, things like a virtual assistant such as Google Assistant or Amazon's Alexa, that's where we're headed. That and virtual and augmented reality. The big thing that I'm really looking forward to with the Pixel is the fact that the VR solution for the Pixel is so cheap. And it's a way for me to get into virtual reality, to try it out and see what it's like. Now, I've only tried it in passing. I've never actually sat down with it and tried it for any length of time. I'm very interested in seeing what VR apps are available. There are 360-degree YouTube videos that I've seen. For instance, they had a mock-up of a possible Mars habitat, NASA did, and they uploaded it to their YouTube channel. It was recorded in 360-degree, with a 360-degree camera. Now, here's the thing. You can look around with your phone, but that only takes you so far. So having a VR headset for something like that, I couldn't. I'm just super excited. But yeah, so basically, that's basically where I am. I've made up my mind with a phone, the Google Pixel. And I'm super happy to have donated to my public television station. Definitely well worth it. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.